We have some pretty significant breaking news from the NHL. The Boston Bruins have fired Jim Montgomery. We'll discuss what this means for the team, who's taking over, and what kind of impact it'll have coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we have some pretty significant breaking news from the NHL. The Boston Bruins have just announced moments ago that they have fired head coach Jim Montgomery. Now, a rumor had surfaced a few hours ago, earlier this afternoon, from a Boston radio station, indicating this was going to happen, even ahead of top NHL insiders like Elliotte Friedman, Frank Seravalli, Darren Dreger, etc. And it turns out to be exactly true. So Montgomery has been the head coach there since July 1, 2022, obviously in parts of 3 seasons. Of course, his first year, they were historically great, greatest regular season in Bruins franchise history. Last year, another excellent regular season. Of course, in year 1, after the historical run, they lost in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So that was a major disappointment. Last year, they came back and they beat the Toronto Maple Leafs in round 1, going to round 2, ultimately falling at that point to the Florida Panthers. So, a round 1 loss followed by a round 2 loss. And then this year they get off to a much poorer start by their standards. I mean, they're not, at a position where playoffs are like gone or anything of that nature. They're still in the mix, but they're not near the top. Hovering around 500, which for what Boston Bruins have been for a long time is not good enough in their opinion. So Montgomery, after 2 really good regular seasons, a little bit of playoff success, but not enough to save his job here in this case. You could see there were times this year where it looked like he was starting to lose the room. We saw for the second time this year a bit of an argument with Brad Marchand on the bench last night when they fell to Columbus in an embarrassing fashion. They were booed off the ice. They don't play for a couple of days, so a lot of people expected if this was going to happen, it's a good time because they have a couple of days off here to kind of breathe, reset, and let the new coach take over. A new coach for right now will be associate coach Joe Sacco. Sacco's been looking for a head coaching opportunity for a long time. Had a brief opportunity in Colorado back when, was it, over 10 years ago? It's been quite a while anyway. And he will take over for now. So in all honesty, I don't know that this changes a whole lot. I mean, will some of the top players maybe wake up and realize the coach is gone and that they have to do better? Maybe. Sometimes you get a little bit of a new coach bump. But when it's internal like that, it doesn't always happen the same way. Somebody coming in externally, at the end of the day, a lot of people think that the Jeremy Swayman negotiations were, a distraction, had an impact. Elliotte Friedman made mention about some hard feelings maybe where he missed training camp. The Bruin way has always been to get things done. They had a pecking order for salaries. They had, such good leadership and, a way they do business there. And some of the younger Bruins have kind of changed that. I'm not sure what the reasons are internally, how things are going or how everybody feels about everything, but it just seems like the team is broken in a variety of ways. I don't know that one change can fix it. I mean, can Swayman play better? Absolutely. Can that cover up some of the other deficiencies? Yes, absolutely it can. And to be honest, I think Swayman and Ullmark in the past couple of years covered things up more than people want to admit in Boston. Clearly this team can't score enough. They don't defend as well as they used to. On paper, their decor looks really good. They spent a bunch of money on guys like Lindholm and Zadorov in the offseason. Those guys are not panning out so far. The depth scoring and secondary scoring is not there. They lost Jake DeBrusk in free agency. I think everybody knew he was leaving. And they not only did they not replace the goals that he provided, which was in that 25 to 30 range, but, they also needed more than that too, right? And they still, they're struggling compared to what they have in years past. It's tough to see. But, at some point this was going to happen to Boston. And to be completely honest, I think as much of the blame here needs to go on Don Sweeney and Cam Neely. They've been at the helm there a long time. They've had multiple coaches under their watch. They've had some great regular seasons. They haven't gotten the job done to ultimately bring a Stanley Cup. That hasn't happened since 2011. And at the end of the day, I think they deserve as much blame as anybody else. I don't really think Don Sweeney completely runs this team, in my personal opinion. I think Cam Neely calls the shots there. We know that he can be emotional with some of the things that he does. They don't wait around to react. We saw the comments he made on Jeremy Swayman before they signed. Ultimately, it kind of moved things along, I guess, when he made the comment of 64 million reasons to come to training camp. But it's just it's not the Bruin way, the way things are going right now. And a lot of people, myself included, have been expecting I don't know if you want to call it like a fall from grace, but a step back, based on how they've played. This team has been getting older, and they've lost some pieces because of cap and other reasons, and retirement, whatnot. And at the end of the day, this isn't shocking. But I think the roster is as much of an issue, really. Like, Montgomery is a heck of a coach. And I'm not sure why, they seem like, it looks like he lost the room. It looks like some of the veterans and he weren't getting along. I know he often picked on the veterans because he knew they could take the criticism and take the ownership to be better. So we also know a couple of years ago, before he was hired, that some of the vets and the core guys there went to management and they wanted Bruce Cassidy gone. So, like, at what point does the players get the onus put on them to do better? That's where I'm at with this. So Montgomery won't take long to get another job. He's highly regarded, highly respected as a heck of a coach, and he will be back on his feet in due time. Look what happened to Bruce Cassidy. What happens? He goes to Vegas, wins the Stanley Cup. It could happen Montgomery going somewhere and doing the same thing too. So I will be curious to see what other teams might now look at him and be on the market. Go, geez, maybe we should fire our coach and bring him in. It could set off a little bit of a pinball effect here. So stay tuned. I'm sure we're going to hear more about this from Bruins management. And I wouldn't be shocked if we see more other moves, maybe in terms of roster movement here to try to shake things up. There's been some talk and consideration that, a trade could be in the works. But again, this was the easier, quick move here where they're off for a few days. So again, a great coach has lost his job, in my opinion, because the management team gave him a crappy roster to work with, and the star players he does have are starting to regress. And it's not really his fault. You can only get so much out of what you have, and here we are. So let me know what you think down in the comments. We'll discuss further. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with all the news, rumors, and analysis of all 32 NHL teams. Thanks for watching. I will catch you next time.